We're about to jump into a really deep conversation with Christina Perri. This has been such a beautiful conversation that I've had. I'm really excited for you guys to listen to it. She talked to me about motherhood, about therapy, about her new children's book called A Thousand Years. We talked about the emotions, the roller coaster of motherhood, how beautiful it is, and also how much work goes into it that is the best kind of work. So, welcome, Christina Perri. How has it been for you to have a book out?
Um, Honestly, amazing. I feel like the stuff like Today Show and Barnes and Nobles and like doing all that stuff is cool, but like reading it at my daughter's school with both my daughters on my
Aw.
lap and like them pointing to them or their bunny or you know what I mean? Like I feel like not to sound cheesy, but that was like my favorite part. Or like even my daughters like coming and seeing me do a reading and then I'll sing because it's I turned the song A Thousand Years into a kid's
Right.
book. And so like a lot of places are like, oh, can you also play it? So then I would like sing, but I would like have my oldest, she's 7, like on my lap and like she'd sing with me and like she thinks I'm cool. Like I know it's not gonna last. I know it's like this is such a short window, but like she's kind of loving the whole like, oh my God, how cool is this? Even though it's like, it's sweet and endearing and wholesome. It's a kid's book. It's like it's just such a good vibe, and like they just love coming and like hanging with me and getting that attention and it's just was it means more to me that they like that than anything else.
How do you, I mean, to, go back, of course, the children's
Yeah,
book is called A Thousand Years based off of your amazing song,
yeah, thank you.
which when I was re-listening to it, because of course I feel like everybody has moments of when they first heard your song, and mine I feel like was in college when you're just like, you have a crush on someone and you're just like, oh my God, like so emotional.
Yeah,
And then now, of course, you turning it into a children's book, and now we're in this phase of motherhood, and it makes so much sense to turn that into a children's book. Like it translates so
yeah,
well. And
thank you.
and then of course it's emotional and, on another level of that was not even relating to what it used to be, which is wild.
Sure. Yes.
But I mean, how has it been for you to have that? Because it's different chapters of your life, but,
Right.
using similar language. So how has
Sure.
that kind of those chapters merged for you?
Well, what's interesting is like, the truth of the matter is I wrote this song for vampires. I mean, it was
Yeah.
like the Twilight movie. Like, let's be honest. It was for Edward and Bella, and I did write it for their wedding scene. So this is also very cool, I think, as a writer. It wasn't chosen for the wedding. Like they ended up picking a different song. They asked me, like I went and I screened the film, and so I was like writing it exactly the way I thought like the procession would be. Like I was really writing it to the rhythm of the wedding.
Mhm.
And then they were like, "Oh, just kidding. We're going with this song." And then it was like just like, classic Hollywood like, "Okay." And then I'm in the credits. But like everyone remembers it kind of wrong cuz ever so many people say to me, "I love your song from the Twilight Wedding." And I'm just like, "Cool, thanks." Like I don't correct them, but it's in the credits. Like I'm just like, "Okay." Um but they intuitively I think kind of felt my intention, which was a wedding song. And then that's when all the fans of the movie started getting married. That's when the song started to evolve. It was like, 2011, it was all about the movie, but then 2012, 2013, 2014, it was everyone getting married. And then it was everyone having babies. And then just so happened I'm doing the same thing. So, like, I got married well, not until 2017, but still, it was like at that point it had been just the biggest wedding song. And then I had a baby and I made a lullaby version for my oldest. And
Oh,
I
we're
was
gonna get to
like,
that.
yeah. And I was like, well, yeah, clearly I want to sing songs to my children. That's what I do all day at home. And like that idea was so organic. And like I didn't even know that that was going to be something I continued to do and make 4 more. Like it was just like hey, I just had a baby. I don't want to pretend that I didn't have a baby. So many people in my business do that and go right back to work or whatever. And I'm just like, no, I feel so different. I feel so changed, like, for good. And like, I want to sing, I just want to record cute Disney songs. So like it was just like what I wanted to do. And then I did 1,000 Years because that made sense because everyone got married to it. And I was like, oh, maybe they'll sing this to their babies. And then that version became like the TikTok, cute puppies, cute babies, cute dogs, like whatever. Like that song went crazy. That version of it, is like a sound that everyone hears on when they're scrolling. So that had like a whole nother life to it. And it was like, this, a kid's version of it. So then I feel like the next thing that made sense was a book because here I'm sitting and reading picture books to my girls. Now I have a 2.5-year-old and a 7-year-old, and so it was like, of course, this song has turned so maternal for me. Like it's gone from Edward and Bella to, forever love, maybe for a spouse, but really what's even bigger and gushier and in my body is my love for my kids. And so like that was so easy to do. That was like a no-brainer. Like, oh yeah, of course, I've loved you forever. Like I changed some of the lyrics of the song to fit like a kid's book. And then the animation came and it looked just like my daughter. Like it just all kind of fell into place. And I was like, oh my gosh, this makes so much sense. And I loved it. So I've loved every second of doing that.
What has it been like for you to have the ability to read those words to your kids? Because I would imagine that's also a wild experience.
Yeah, well, I think what's crazier is that my 7-year-old reads it to me now. So she's like, I got this. Like she's in first grade. So she's just learning to read. So she's like, so we sit and she reads it and she's like, this is me. And then my little one, Pixie's like, no, it's me. And then Carmela's like, well, fine, but I know it's me. Like she's like very cute about it. And so it's wild. I mean, that part of it I feel like is wild. That's like them hearing their songs out in the wild that I wrote for them, or like them seeing me on TV, or like that's always kind of crazy to me. And like, but sitting with them and reading the books, like it's just one of the books, which by the way, we have your book. So many people bought me your
Oh,
book because I have it, because Carmela has a little sister. So I feel like I have 4 copies of it and
oh my
it's
God, that makes me
so
so
sweet.
happy.
That's in our rotation too. I like literally
That's
saw it the other day when I was picking up their room.
it's such a wild thing. Like I remember when my girls picked up my book to read for the first time, I was like, no, no, we don't have to do that. Like you don't have to do. And they're like, no, I want to do it. And then you sit there and read it, and it's such a wild. My girls were too young to, do like the classroom because my oldest daughter is in preschool. But it's such a cool thing to, have them
Yeah.
be aware of like, oh, this is something that my mom did. What's your relationship like with, incorporating your daughters into your work, like your children's book, and
Sure.
then also having them just view you as mom?
I feel like for the first couple years of Carmela's life, I was trying to figure it out, but I went straight into lullaby land. So I sort of entered the kid space, I think to feel comfortable to have my kid, at the time I only had Carmela, around that world. Like it felt so much better to me than hopping on a tour bus and doing a big tour. Like it didn't feel authentic to do that at that time. I may still do that one day and bring them along, and they might love that. But like I was pretty delicate about it because at the same time, like, yeah, I felt so different when I became a mom that like there's something about ego, which I mean, you may relate to, like your world just goes from like, oh, everybody look at me, or everybody like listen to my music, or everybody, please like make space for me in the world, to hold on a second, these people are so important, like this is all I really care about. And like, you know, it's actually not great to be that way the whole time. Like they always say to then get yourself back. And there's all this language about like, when you're sort of get your autonomy back and you can do things for you. And so maybe I was just in that postpartum window for a while because I had 3 pregnancies in a row that were like, I was just pregnant and postpartum for 6 years straight. But in that time, I truly didn't want to not include them. I wanted to like show them what I was doing and have them, at least Carmela, she didn't even come to see a show of mine until I was pregnant with her sister Pixie. And she sat like in the front row and sang all the words. So she was like ready, but like I didn't do it right away. I think my answer is like I really kind of eased into it because I couldn't imagine them or her looking at me like that and thinking that like my mom is like anything other than just like my mom. Do you know what I mean? I didn't want them to, or her to look at me any differently. And now she does think it's cool. She'd be like, kids at my school like your music, like, but she has a language, and we have such like, we had a foundation of our relationship where it wasn't like that. But I will say, like, something like having mom come to read to the whole class is something I do either way. You know what I mean? It
Right.
just so happens that like everyone knows my music or whatever. But like I do think, like, maybe I just intuitively thought like, okay, how do I want the girls to see me doing my career? And like I kind of just did the stuff that I think that they could come to, or they could, not that my career before had been like not kid friendly. It was literally just me jumping around the stage like a fairy, laughing, smiling, singing about, love songs. So it wasn't like, and I may still do that one day, but this season of my life feels so great. And I think I'm just going to go based on feel, like until it feels, you know what I mean? I keep going like this feels right, and following that sense. And like if I can bring the girls along, great. And they think it's cool.
It sounds like you, though, have been really thoughtful and mindful of your transition into motherhood. Is that something that you expected from yourself or surprised?
Absolutely not. No, that like, it was like, I don't know, again, kind of like surviving. I almost got very clear and intentional about it because I had to. Like I felt like it kind of blew me over, knocked me down. I think of postpartum depression as like waves. Like I actually don't think it's like it happens to someone and then they have it and that's it, and then they, or someone doesn't have it at all. Like I think it just comes in hormonal waves, like which helped that language helped me get through it. And so like the first year of Carmela's life, I feel like I just like was fumbling, figuring it out. I don't know any first time mom that like just, I mean, you have your intuition that maybe is like your maternal instinct that you've had your whole life, which I do feel strongly that I kind of always knew what Carmela needed, and I feel grateful for that. But every single thing in my life was messed up, like for a whole year. Like I just couldn't grasp it. It was like, I'd get like, finally I'd sleep after 6 weeks of not sleeping, and my therapist is like, you're insane. Like you could literally be insane. Like if you committed a crime, you could claim insanity because you haven't slept for 6 weeks. And I'm like, okay, I'll take a nap. And then like, I sleep, and then it's like, oh wow, I'm a human again. And then like, something happens and she gets sick, and it was just like this never ending catching, like I couldn't catch up. And then I feel like, cliche, but like around her first birthday, I was like, oh, okay, like I can do this. And then I care so much about my mental health that I kept raising the bar a little bit and being like, oh wow, okay, I don't have to feel that way. Okay, I don't have to feel that way so I kept doing therapy. I've been sober for 13 years, so I do a 12-step program. I kept doing the things and slowly getting them back into my life that like bring me back to life, and like, the tools I have to be like okay. I just want to be okay. And life was just absolutely insane. I had a extremely devastating late pregnancy loss for my daughter Rosie in November of 2020. And so I had a daughter between Carmela and Pixie, and Rosie passed away. And I had to go through that with Carmela. She was ready to be a big sister. My husband and I can't even believe we're still together. It was so hard. It was like, that's so hard for anybody to go through. And then all of a sudden we had this massive grief, and like that you carry kind of forever. And then so I had to learn to live with that and parent with that. And then I had to like totally forget about the hopelessness, and because I wanted so bad to give Carmela a sibling, that I like just tried again and had to find hope, and like just had to stay focused on like, bringing Pixie here, because I just like felt that we were supposed to. And then I did. And then I was like, then I had to recover from all the being too strong. Like I was like so strong for them. And then I like completely fell apart when Pixie was born. And I was like, oh my God, I'm done. Like, here's your person. She took 3 years to make. Like, it was like this whole, like, and then I just wanted like to hide in my bed for like a year. And I didn't, but like, so I might sound like I have it so okay right now, but man, I like really went through so much. I just kept my priority on like getting through it, getting better, and doing it for the girls. Honestly, that's what really got me through. And then now, like my bar's so high for my mental health. I'm just like, if I don't sleep 3 nights in a row, like I'm gonna take the girls to school and just go take a nap because like I know what I need to like be okay.
How did you get to a place where you prioritized your mental health so much as a mom?
Well, I will say I think it's because I was sobered for a while before I became a mom. So I had already had an understanding of myself, my brain, like biologically and emotionally, my like where I was at. I had done all this work on myself, and then when I got pregnant, I mean, truthfully, my husband Paul and I, we laugh all the time about how we had like every life stressor in like the first 2, 3 years of our marriage because we got married when I was 9 months pregnant. So it was like we like moved in together. We, got pregnant. We had a baby. We were, all the things. And then it was just difficult. It was hard for a couple years. And like, so I think about how, like, was I preparing for that without even knowing it? Was I like, clearing out so much stuff from like, because when you do the 12 steps, like you really do like take your whole life and like open it up and look at it and work on it. So I feel like that's like a really brave thing to do, regardless of how or when or if you ever enter any kind of program. I just think the 12 steps in general, even if you don't quit something, they're just so good because they're such a structured way to get well. And so, yeah, I feel like I really, without knowing it, maybe started preparing for what was going to be a challenging couple years before it all happened. And then when it happened, I had already like made sure, okay, I can't, I'm not going to drink. Like I didn't drink or do drugs or anything. Like I can't believe I held on to my sobriety actually in the midst of all that. But again, I had been sober long enough to know like that would just give me one more problem. Like I need to be strong for the daughter I do have, or it was just like one day at a time kind of vibe, where I just kept making good decisions. But I also don't want to take all the credit. I had such a lovely support system with my family, my friends, my husband. Like I didn't do it alone either. I feel like a lot of people were looking out for me and checking on me, and like the village. I feel like I got a village from this experience too, that are people I don't even know. Like I shared online about loss, and I got like thousands of women who talked to me and wrote to me and sent me things that gave me a lot of hope. So it was a big combination of all those things.
Is there a practice that you have? I mean, the 12-step program and therapy is such a huge part of, your life and many people's lives to kind of keep them calm and even through whatever life throws their way.
Yeah.
Is there something that you feel like has kept you in addition to those things, or a practice or something that keeps you calm or keeps you in a good place to be a mom, to show up as a mother, a wife, an artist, now an author?
Yeah. Well, yes and no. I feel like I'm winging it again. Like I feel like because each season of the girls getting older is different for me and my husband too. Like so now we're, for a while both of us weren't sleeping, so we had to be really conscious of not being jerks to each other, because we were so on edge all the time. And then now we're like sleeping better, but like the issues are bigger that we're having with, or more emotional or so as we continue to grow, I do think, I mean, meditation, the 12 steps have given me tools. I do think I have a toolbox for, what I do when I'm spiraling. But like and I have a sponsor and I call her, and then I have an incredible Italian family, and I reach out to them. But as far as like a practice, like I don't really, I mean, I love, Pilates and yoga and like listening to my body and like I just, but like when do I have the time to do that? Like I don't, you know what I mean? Like I sort of like that sounded so nice coming out of my face, but like I don't remember the last time I actually did that. So like I'm sort of just like still in survival mode. Like I think any mom with kids under the age of like 10, like we're just in it. It's like we're figuring it out, and just when I think everything's cool, like both girls will get sick, and it's like whatever. It's just endlessly happening, and I'm reacting. I'm like endlessly reacting to it. But I will say, I feel also like all the work that I do in therapy and in my sobriety. And then also I've done things like Hoffman, like I did the Hoffman process. You know what that
Hmm.
is?
Yes, very well,
So
yeah.
that changed me again molecularly. I felt so different after that. So I think I've taken time, like each season or each kind of year, to like do something that's going to help me sort of get through the next thing, or when things come up, because maybe I didn't notice as much coming up because I didn't have as much room for like childhood stuff until, I was sleeping better and the girls were a little older. And then all of a sudden Pixie's at 1.5. And I was like, oh, wow, I think I can leave for 7 days and go do this retreat. And then that was the best thing for my marriage. Like Paul and I were having a really hard time and we were discussing, like, do we stay together? Do we not? Like, we were at like a crossroads and it was like, okay, let's both do things for us. I went to Hoffman, he went on an Al-Anon retreat. Like we tend to look inward. I feel like that looks different for everybody.
Hmm.
And that sort of, I guess, would be something that I do. Like if I feel like if I don't like who I'm being, if I don't like the mom I'm being, if I don't like the wife I'm being, or daughter or friend, I have like a little red flag that pops up, and it's like, okay, I need to go do something for me and get quiet and go inward.
I mean, that's incredibly self-aware of you to do that because, it's not a lot of people's reaction to say like, okay, I know I can, do this better. I know I can be a different mom or wife or partner, whatever that looks like, and to spend the time on looking inward. I mean, that's really self-aware to,
Thank you. I've been that way my whole life.
wow. So that's something that you're just born that way.
Well, now that I have kids, I think so, because my daughter, she says things to me that knock my socks off, because it was me when I was like 4, 5, 6, 7. I was so existential. And like my parents, who I adore, my dad's from Italy. He's a barber. He only went to the fourth grade and then was a stonemason in Italy. And my mom is a hairdresser and very sweet, but like, they're not necessarily super self-aware. That's just not their generation. They never went to therapy.
Yeah.
They're just like living their best life. And my generation is doing all the work for them. And so I realized that when I was Carmela's age, this is just my best way of now seeing it, is through having a kid. I think I didn't notice most of my life, but like Carmela will say things to me that are so deep, or so like almost like, where does that come from? Like how, like I'm not putting like these existential thoughts on her. She'll just be like the other day, I actually almost burst into laughter, but I had to not, because I didn't want to embarrass her. But she like sat up. I thought I had her on one side of me and Pixie on the other. They're both sleeping. I'm like doing my Wordle finally. And then she sits up and she's like, like, I don't know if she was sleeping or she was about to fall asleep. And she's like, Mom. And she absolutely scared me. So I'm like, what? And she's like, if you think too hard about dying, will you die? And I was like,
You're like, okay, we're here.
I was like, oh, my little me, my tiny little me. Because I'm a songwriter. I'm so emo. I was sitting under a tree in grade school, not playing with anyone, writing poetry about love I didn't yet know. Like, I was that deep and weird. Not weird, but, wonderful, like, and inquisitive and curious, and like, but worried about giant things. And
Yeah.
so of course I said to her, like, so what's interesting is, I will say, so like if I had said that to my mom in 1991, and she'd probably be like, what's wrong with you? Are you okay? Why are you thinking about
Yeah.
death? That would be her reaction. Like,
Right.
oh, she'd call my dad in, like, what, we need to talk about this. And then I'd be like, I'm weird. And then I'd like shut down and go in my bedroom and be like, I'm bad. I'm weird.
Yeah.
And so instead, in that exact moment, I just look at her and I said, oh, no, you can think about it as much as you want. You're not going to die. And she was like, okay. And then fell right back to sleep. Like, cool.
Wow.
Like, maybe never going to think that again. Like, we solved it. It was like, and also I was like, I validated it, and by not like questioning it. I mean, and again, I'm analyzing it now. In the moment, it was just like what happened, and then I was like kind of proud of myself, like, oh wow, okay, because I wanted to laugh because it's also funny, but then I
Yeah.
also was like, no, this is actually one of those existential questions she's asking me. So like she was laying there thinking like, oh no, I'm thinking about dying. Oh no, am I gonna die? Like that's Carmela, but that's me. Like that is, if That's just the best way to like describe my childhood. I was that person. I think I arrived on earth like this because there's nothing that happened. I just was like this dramatic and emo from birth.
It's so interesting to hear how much work you've done on yourself and in your life, and even in the different seasons and chapters of your life. And then also to be able to now have the perspective of reflecting on it and then your own childhood. Like, it's, I mean, that must be wild for you.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I will say like everything got a lot clearer after Hoffman. I like really worked through 0 to 12. Like from 0 to 12, what I love about therapy, is like it's an ongoing thing. You kind of, it's like a conversation you sort of have for life. But what I loved about Hoffman was like it felt like I actually healed um, parts of me that like I no longer have to go back to and work on. That's crazy to
Wow.
me because like
Yeah.
normally you do, or they pop up, or you get triggered, or things, all go back to certain things, or, and patterns. But like I really, and that doesn't mean I can just stop doing my work because I think I'm just such a sensitive human being that like this stuff will bother me deeply and it will change me if I don't look at it. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like, and that's also part of my being sober is like my quality of life. I want it to be a certain way because I felt how good it can be if I'm sound, if like my mind is sound, if like I like my parenting better when I'm taking care of me. Like I've had examples now of like the best version of me or the me that I want to be or keep striving to be. And like that version of me always is like being taken care of, like that little voice. Like I also do IFS, like the internal family systems, where like I've done it in my therapy with my therapist, but like there's a bunch of books about it, and that really spoke to me deeply too because it was like, oh, I have all these parts, and like a lot of people are always trying to stop being parts of ourselves. Like, okay, I need to like not be that 17-year-old who keeps like messing everything up, and I was doing that for a long time trying to delete her, and then it was like, no, let me invite her to the table and see what she needs to say because all of a sudden she just needs to be heard and she's messing everything up because I won't listen to her. Like, and so that language, like that really helped me, and I was like, oh dang, because that's something I was having trouble with, like just messing everything up once things were good. And I'm like, well, which part of me is that? And it was like the rebellious high school smoking cigarettes, like, and I was like, okay, like I kept pushing her away, and instead I had to bring her close and be like, hey, are you good? Like, but can you stop? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're really messy stuff. And that really worked for me. I mean, I might sound insane right now, but
No,
I
I actually, I don't think you sound insane at all. I mean, I think all the work that you have done in your life and also just the openness about it is, it's not only a beautiful thing, but it's also such a gift to everyone that you interact with, and
thank
especially
you.
your children and your family, because, the work that you do on yourself also allows you to show up as the mom that you want to be, the wife that you want to be, the partner, the daughter, the friend, and in so many different areas. So it's the best work. My mom always says that because we're very open in our family about,
Yeah.
talking about mental health, talking about feelings, and so, which is why I'm familiar with Hoffman, On-Site, all these, amazing
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
programs. But a lot of people are scared to do them. And it sounds
Yeah, of
like
course.
you are, because it's a scary thing to go and say to, the 17-year-old version of yourself, like, I'm
Hmm.
not going to, I'm just going to kind of push that aside. But you're like, no,
Yeah.
no, let's welcome her in and let's just dive deep into that. So it sounds like you didn't have fear of going back to all of these different versions of yourself and really
Sure.
having the conversations with them.
Yes. I mean, yes and no. As far as the fear, I think I still like when I went to Hoffman, or when I try new things, or when I do EMDR. I've done EMDR because I've had trauma a couple times in my life, especially when I lost my daughter Rosie, and I had to, I wanted to really try to work on these things. Like I genuinely made an effort, but I was terrified. I just did it anyway. I think I got, which is the thing I'm teaching. Funny enough, my 7-year-old now is like, bravery, like, because she's doing the solo in the school concert. She's
Oh
singing
my
Wicked.
gosh.
She's so cute. But she'll say to me like, Mom, like, do you get scared like when you're gonna go on stage? And I'm like, yeah, every time. Every time I feel sick, I feel nauseous, I feel like I'm gonna barf. I just like run out and do it anyway because I just, like that's our conversation we've been having. And so I wondered too if, like, again, I think it's practice. I think you don't just all of a sudden have the strength to do that. I think it's like trusting others, maybe who you're surrounding yourself with. Like, you have to really trust and love your therapist. Like, there's a lot of pieces. But, like, I also was definitely scared and sort of did it anyway in the sense that I wanted so badly to get to the other side of it. So,
Right.
same with like people ask me all the time, like how I got pregnant again after losing Rosie, and I was like, well, I just believed like I wanted to get to the other side of that narrative. I wanted to, like, you know what I mean? Like there's something about having like a goal that really got me through the like the scary part of like taking the leap.
It's really amazing because, there are so many people, and I think we all have people in our lives that we know that allow fear to paralyze them. And at even different moments in our own lives, it's like you are confronted with scary times and you have the option of, I'm going to freeze in this, or I'm going to push through it, with which are both, challenging decisions to do. But it's also, I wonder if when you're a mom, for you, I know like for me, you do things or you push through things or work on things in a different way with the understanding in your mind, like, this is, I have now two, or now I have three little kids, but like for my daughters, it's like they're gonna look at me and they're gonna
Yeah,
wonder, like, why do you snap at that thing, or why did that make you upset, or like why
right.
didn't you go and work on that,
Yeah.
to help them through that. So it's kind of like a lot of the work that I find myself doing, and I wonder if it's the same for you, is also like, with two girls that this is going to come up.
Oh
It's
yeah.
going to come up at some point. So it's kind of
Yes.
like you got to
Yeah.
get the tools.
Absolutely. I mean, the thing is too, like, we're taught that now, like, they learn more from us just from watching us than they do us even saying. So, like, sometimes I think, like, it doesn't even matter what I'm saying to her right now. I mean, it does in a little bit, but, like, overall, it's how I am. It's how I react to the world. It's how, it's more about that. And they watch everything, even when, like, I think they're not. Like, they just, like, recall something. Like, it just, yes, the pressure and good pressure because being a mom
Right.
is amazing. So like that pressure is helpful for doing stuff to be better for them. It's like to have a sense of purpose or like, a real fuel, to like make sure I'm my best self. It's a gift that we get to, do that for them because it is easier. It's definitely easier for mom me to like get better than it was for like single artist me that was on tour crying in my bathtub in Singapore, feeling sorry for myself. You know what I mean? Like I was like, what? Like what was I even crying about? Like, I just like I've had such an evolution, and like I hope I continue to. But at the same time, I've been messy as heck. Like I like today. This is like how I feel today. This is like, where I'm at. And then like, I'm sure it's going to ebb and flow, like it continues to do so far, my whole motherhood journey. But like, I, I think that always being aware and like having that bar get higher and higher for my self-care and my inner work, like that's something I actually didn't see my mom do. My mom worked 24/7, like took care of everybody, was always stressed out. Like I think I learned like, okay, I don't want to miss also like how great life is when your kids are little. Like my mom misses us being little so much. And like I just feel like I'm like a sponge. Like I have learned like, okay, in order for me to like enjoy this, I want to be a certain version of me, So I do. I guess I think about it a lot in the sense of maybe more than an average person, but I think it's like the most fruitful path to go down. And we have all these things now for like self-care and take care of yourself and mom time. And, like there's
Mhm.
so much more conversations. There's so many more around taking care of you, putting your oxygen mask on. And I love that because that definitely would have helped my mom. Like if my mom had Instagram and could, see what other moms were doing in the 90s, like I bet she would have noticed she wasn't doing it, you know?
Yeah.
And so I do feel grateful for these conversations that you can have, and also having, you know, mom friends is a big thing for me. Like, because, yeah, that's how you kind of have this mirror. And it's like, oh, yeah, gosh, you know, like I need to, I don't know, go get my nails done or do something for me that, like, it's just for me, just for me.
Mm.
Or like I started singing in a choir just for fun. It's like a secret choir. And like, I haven't had a hobby. Like, I haven't sang in a choir since I was in high school. And now I'm singing in this choir. And like, there's a bunch of moms in there, and we're all just like it's so cute. And it's like just for us. Nobody knows. Like, no, I'm not doing it for anyone or anything. And it's like, wow, like I haven't done something like that. Like, I added a hobby into my life or added any kind of, you know what I mean? Like, in so long.
I just want to say that you sound so present in your motherhood chapter. And it's really admirable to listen to all the work that you've done on yourself and continue to do, and just the awareness and presence that you have in this chapter is, I mean, it's incredible. It's really,
Thank you.
I know it's like really, it's tough work. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of just,
Yeah.
you know, it's a lot. And it is a really beautiful thing that will benefit your children, benefit in all areas of your life. And it's incredible. I mean, like when I'm listening to you talk about it, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's just like you don't hear people talk about,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, life and the doing the work on, you know, lives that they've lived. It just, there's
Sure.
just so much that come into play in so many different seasons of life, and especially motherhood, which is
Yeah.
like, you know, I, when I had my first daughter, your Lullaby album came out and came on when I was doing my bath time with my daughter. And I literally get goosebumps even
Oh.
thinking about it because it came on and I was
Oh.
like, full crying, like isolated by myself in COVID with my
Oh
daughter.
no. Oh
My
no.
husband was like on location somewhere, and I'm like sitting there listening. I'm like,
Oh
why
my
is this
God.
just making me so emotional? And it wasn't that I
Oh,
was sad about it.
of
It was
course.
it was just that it was, I mean, of course you have a beautiful voice, and the songs are beautiful, but it was also just
Thank
like
you.
for me, I remember just sitting there and I was like, wait, I'm never going to be a kid again. Like now I'm a
Oh.
mom. And I was like listening to all of your
Oh.
songs with my daughter, and I was like, what is it? What's going on? It's just like such a
That's my
totally,
superpower. I'm so sorry. I'm also not sorry because it's so good to emote,
I
but I'm
know. I'm like,
sorry.
she made me cry in college, and now we're crying in motherhood. And what is
I
going
can't help it. I can't help it.
I know. Thanks a lot.
It's wild. It's such a gift, and also like I feel bad about it. But
No, it's a beautiful gift. I mean, you put out such amazing, beautiful creations into the world, and now with this children's book, it's such an exciting new creation. And this has been such
thank
an amazing
you.
conversation.
Oh,
You're doing such great work that benefits so many in the world. So I'm really
oh
grateful
my
that you took the
gosh.
time to chat today, especially
Well,
in all
thank
the
you.
craziness you have going on.
Yeah, well, same to you. I mean, this is
Same.
such important work. I love this conversation that you have and this platform you have, and that you know, use it to, I mean, you know, make moms feel better. I mean, like those, you know, like that's got to
Yeah.
be like such a, you know, a feeling that all listeners walk away with is like, oh, okay, I'm not alone in this, because we really are like all doing the same thing, but it's so nice to not pretend it's not hard. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's like that stuff always feels the best. Like you can have your highlight reel on Instagram and everything that's good, but like, you know, we're all in a similar boat when we lay in bed at night and like carry the mental load of our families and like hope we're doing okay, or like, you know.
Right.
So I feel
Yeah.
like I'm in the same boat, and I don't know what's next, you know? Like I don't know, like I hope, like I might sound good right now, and but if I jump back in and have another baby, you know, you got to come back and
I
interview
would love
me
it. I
then,
love
and I'll
it.
be like, "Oh, I don't know." Because I'm just feeling okay right now, but
Right.
you know, we don't know what's next in life, but yeah, I do think prioritizing you know, and not just saying prioritizing your mental health as like a catchphrase, like actually like doing the work because we are strong enough. Like we have these kids. Like we can
Yeah.
do, I refuse to believe we're not strong enough to get better if we can raise human beings. So it's like, yeah, sometimes moms just need that nudge, like to do something to help them, and then they they internalize like, they will get better, but they will be the mom they want to be. It has so little to do with the outside stuff, is what I've
Yeah.
learned.
Well, it sounds like you really also have prioritized this toolbox that you have that really benefits the moments where you feel like I have no idea what's going on, or like, today's
Yeah,
really hard day. It's really
yeah,
that toolbox that, you can go back to help you come out the other side when, your kids are sick, you're exhausted,
yeah, all of it.
those moments.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
thank
Well,
you.
thank you so much for having me.